Hello there, kia ora. There's an old saying, often ironically misattributed to Mark Twain, that a lie can run around the world before the truth has got its boots on. I say ironically because the first time the saying was actually attributed to him was almost a decade after he died. And that's not Mark Twain, it's actually actor Jerry Hardin who played him in Star Trek. And finding out the reality is different to the facts, as stated, is something that all voters need to be really aware of going into the next election. Because we live in a world of social media connection where bullshit has power, and the rules around what bullshit a political party can spread, well, they're not really keeping up with the reality of the world that we live in. There's actually a couple of really serious concerns that we should all have for 2026 on this. The first is the rules governing what a political party can say on social media. The second is the use of AI content in campaigns. When it comes to social media for political parties, there's a lot of peripheral rules, but they're generally the same rules that we're all meant to follow. The terms of use guidelines on the platform, avoiding speech which breaches the Bill of Rights and Human Rights Act, defamation avoidance, that sort of thing. There's also some parliamentary rules, like political parties aren't meant to take recordings in the House and recut them to misrepresent the content from an opposing party. But unless it's within the 3 month regulated period before an election, any political party can technically make false or misleading claims on their social media channels, which is a bit different to an individual candidate who could argue that it's their perspective that they're right when spreading bullshit, and it's free speech that allows them to do so. In fact, that was pretty much all of New Zealand's first 2023 election campaign in a nutshell. But being, hopefully, less than a year out from the election, we're starting to see battle lines being drawn, and social media as a key battleground. We can expect content that takes a swipe at opposing parties from every party, and each party to have slightly different approaches to social media going into the campaign. Labour and the Greens, for example, tend to use a combo of conversational content and data set presentations. Labour tends to use more media stand ups and formalised looking direct to camera pieces than the Greens, and these presentations match the kind of persona that the party wants to present to voters. New Zealand First will have the persona of that uncle that you don't invite to Christmas anymore because he thinks Jacinda is cloud seeding chemtrails to turn everyone into woke transgender frogs with the help of tracking chips and vaccines and paid for by the elite Maoris. Act all race bait and claim that they're deregulating and advocating for free speech at the same time. Te Pāti Māori, well, who knows at this stage? They're clearly dealing with other issues right now. And National is going to continue to repeat catchphrases and hope that you don't use your critical thinking skills to check what they say or take credit for. Like this post from last week. They claim Kiwis are better off under National, the ones who stayed in the country and didn't leave as soon as they could, despite the fact that we have wage growth below the rate of inflation, which means that Kiwis are not better off as costs increases surpass wage increases. They claim they stopped wasteful spending, like the $651 million they spent on ferry cancellation and the $181 million on ongoing extended maintenance of the current fleet and assets before paying up to $2 million for new, smaller ferries, or landlord tax breaks or tobacco company kickbacks. And they imply here that they're the ones responsible for the drop in inflation and interest rates. Inflation was already tracking down when they took office after global increases with the pandemic and supply chain issues, but domestic inflation, which their spend did rise the inflation rate with, well, that's a completely different thing. And that's one of the influences that guides the Reserve Bank in its independent decision to set an OCR which impacts interest rates. So it's not the government of the day. Or this one, claiming the number of victims are down for crime. That's because victimizations may have dropped in the reporting, but the number of violent crimes reported has gone up over the last 3 years, according to police data. When it comes to social media, there's as much stopping a political party from misleading voters as there is stopping anyone else from claiming that they invented post-its at a high school reunion. But this election will also have an added concern: the use of AI images and video. During the 2023 campaign, both ACT and National came under fire for its use of AI during the campaign. It was something Christopher Luxon said he was comfortable with at the time, and since then we've actually seen tacky AI videos used by National to promote its evidence-free plan to force young people into work by means testing their parents before they can receive an unemployment benefit, and to quickly remove video about the mongrel mob. Over the past 3 years, AI image creation has improved and refined itself, and without proper regulation, that experts have been calling on now for quite a while for politicians, there's nothing stopping the creation of content like this, with the Prime Minister campaigning for the position, or like this, with Winston Peters realising that opening the can of worms he's playing with is going to end in doom, or Even two people put together that don't want to be associated with each other, but are, no matter how much they try to downplay it. An AI video has the same risks, and both of them will end up costing the creatives employed by political parties their jobs, which can have impacts on our economy and how much trust audiences actually put into social media and other content produced by political parties. Instead of the 1970s dancing Cossacks, which took time and effort to create, you can use a simple prompt and get something like this in minutes that could be used to vilify Labour's CGT policy in the most dumbed down way, but also deliberately misleading way possible. And voters who are dyed-in-the-wool coalition voters aren't going to care about accuracy, details, or impact because it backs up their perspective, which is a major factor in what leads people to fall for AI-generated propaganda. I actually feel dirty just doing that for this video, and it can go the other way as well. There's nothing stopping the opposition making something like this, except they're being much more transparent about their use of creative people to make content and share their message, and have avoided the use of AI in their campaigns between elections. But it's really important to know what the rules are, what the loopholes that are being exploited and the tools being used in social media messaging are going to be, and how that can impact our votes if we want to be informed going into the next election. It'll be up to us to ask, is this accurate? Is this authentic? And can I really trust what I'm being presented with? And should I trust the people who want to present this to me as well? Hey, thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. While you're here, why not hit that like button or share the video or even subscribe to the channel? You could even become a paid YouTube member so you can see things released in advance, you get access to some exclusive content, and like all these awesome people, you get to have your name at the end of the credits as well.